Hello, this is Alan Wheeler on my channel where I talk about tarot and spirituality. And today, uh, as my screen shows, is the day of the full moon and first eclipse of a phase that will be followed by another eclipse this month. So I'm going to try to take on a kind of a complicated topic and hope it goes well. And the title is something about blending deity or divine synthesis. And so I'm talking a bit about, I will bring in tarot, but a bit about syncretic gods or mixing of the divine. And by this, I don't really mean polytheism, which would just be belief in multiple gods, maybe a pantheon. I don't mean multiple belonging, whereas someone could belong to a Christian group and a Wiccan group and a Buddhist group. But I'm talking more about mixing and blending together in one person or one group a deity or divinity, the divine. Now, syncretism or syncretic gods would be considered a dirty word in some groups. So for purists, traditionalists, maybe reconstructionists, or any kind of exclusivist, it would be a dirty word. So for example, in history, for Jewish people to identify Yahweh with Zeus was the utmost blasphemy. But some other historic examples aren't quite so exclusive. So, for example, the Greeks would import Dionysus and have festivals, and in the name of that foreign god, and were seemed to be very syncretic, would synthesize foreign deities into their own practices. Another example, Isis has been called an all-goddess, and so a lot of her, she was very syncretic and found in a lot of cultures, and even a lot of her traits and images were absorbed into the Catholic Mary, so that a lot of the pictures of Mary holding a baby would be very similar to ones you would see of Isis and Horus, and so on. The Romans did a lot of that. For example, they identified Mercury with Odin, kind of Hermes getting mixed in, and Odin with Mercury. So because they're expanding and absorbing cultures, that included languages and deity and all kinds of things. Sometimes the matches weren't so good. Aries does not quite match with the Roman Mars, and so on. So some different types I'm noticing are sometimes there's just overlap. So one way eclectics might look at this, or eclectic pagans might look at this, is that the archetypes, such as dark goddess or trickster, might be energies with many faces. So that dark goddess might be seen in Hecate, in Kali, in the Morrigan, but that root growing in various cultures and manifesting in different ways. The trickster might be seen, those qualities might express in Loki of the Norse, or Hermes of the Greeks, or Coyote, and so on. Other than that, I've mentioned some absorption and blending already with Isis, but Woden may have evolved into Odin. Sometimes there seem to be doubles or triples, so that the Morigna, which is plural, the Great Queen, might be seen in the Morrigan and Maca. And so a group that's sometimes not always clear how they are separated or combined if you dig into that. So let's get to the tarot. One very clear example is the Thoth, which brings a god into the very title of the deck. And so the magician, I have here photocopied, would be known as Hermes, Thoth, Mercury. So in some books and teachings, you even see those three names grouped together. And you see the symbolism of Mercury and Hermes in that card. The Rider-Waite-Smith, I just have some small versions from the Radiant Rider-Waite-Smith deck here. But the Empress, you see associations with the Earth Mother and Gaia, symbolism, yet the sign of Venus here. In the High Priestess, who's equated with, she's kind of got the colors of Mary and some Christian symbolism going on, but also the headdress of Isis is mixed into that card, that energy. So, of course, you might expect that from an archetypal system like tarot. So let me close with some personal examples. And so I open by saying that the synthesis could occur in groups or cultures or individuals. So for me, a couple examples would be the combining kind of the god and goddess. Now you would see that in Wicca, where the divine is the goddess and the god working together. And so you have that doubling. I have an example here on a candle where I have Odin's picture and Freya. And in the stories, of course, they match up and interact, but that's in a personal practice. Here I have the images combined of Hecate and the Morrigan, images of the dark goddess there. And another example, I have some coins I carry in a little bag here, with one representing Hermes, one for Thoth, and one for Mercury, in order to work with Hermes, Thoth, Mercury, an energy that seemed to come in when I began working with the Thoth deck. Now, I also carry in my pocket every day, along with this combination, a piece that I identify with Odin because it's a long story how I acquired that. And so I have three energies that I equate with alchemy, and they are the sulfur of the emperor, or Odin, the fire, the mercury of Hermes taught Mercury, and then these for the goddess, the salt of the earth. And I have lapis associated with Isis, and Kumbaba jasper that I associate with the Empress, Gaia, Venus, and labradorite, which I associate with the dark goddess, or Hecate in the Morrigan. And these I keep in a cauldron at night and carry in my pocket by day, because the alchemical process requires all three of those for the great work, all three of those energies. So I work with or practice various things with those deity. I also put into my cauldron my necklace associated with Odin, my bracelet with the ankh and beads that I associate with Isis, prayer beads, which I have used for these were my first ones and associated with Shakti and other chanting and mantras, and then a necklace for the Morrigan. Now, these are just deities that I pray to, chant, work with in various ways, and call in that energy or attend to, listen to, and serve in different ways. So it's a long story. Some people would consider that they have a spirit tribe. I look at mine more like a spirit family, not just a patron and matron or patron and patroness, but kind of a family. Maybe there's brother, sister, and so on. So a lot of questions there, but that's just some ways that it works out, that I've seen it working out in tarot, in my own personal practice, in different types, and in history. So I will stop there, but that's just food for thought as far as blending deity or divine synthesis. Thank you so much for watching, and I might add just one thing before I do my closeout. Now, in meditation, in Hindu meditation, sometimes from the crown chakra down, the illumination or light or energy of the god of Shiva is imagined, meeting with the Kundalini, the Shakti energy rising up like coiling serpents more, and merging so that there's a synthesis there. And that's, to me, in a way similar with the Wiccan idea in the circle of the year. With that circle of the year idea in mind, I created a goddess wheel. And so at the center of the hub is that energy of goddess with all these different expressions around the outside, similar to the wheel of fortune or the wheel of the year. So I thought I'd throw that in there as well, into the mix, as some food for thought. So thank you for watching. As always, I hope you have connection with people in your life, with online community, and with on your spiritual path, whatever that may be. Take care.